Hey guys, back again. Just another quick story. I think today, if you could please like, subscribe, and share the content if you're enjoying it. Comment below on anything that you liked particular or any stories that you'd wish to share. So today's story is called I Sold My Soul to the Devil and Forgot About It Until. So years and years ago, we're talking like 2010, 2011. I was down and out. Me and my second kid's mum split up, making it the second family I had to be part from. I was working a crumble job, making money, and I was broke. I was tired of it. I was a dub. I was meant for more than that. And being raised in a Christian home, for the most part, I decided to sell my soul to the devil. Crazy, right? Well, all think about it. The what ifs and the what nots of doing it. I am right. I said out loud while focusing on my voice being heard to high hell I'd sale of my soul to make sure I'd always had $1 in my pocket. Next week I lost my job, but on the last 2 days I was there. I met this girl who knew some people who I could go through to get into the game. And not thinking of my pact I made, I jumped in, 2 feet running. I ended up with a decent looking girl, about 8 years my younger, had a convertible drop top, had all new clothes and a whole electronics store in my house. I went from being broke, a bummy, to balling, but I never even thought about my pact. A year or so, my grandparents died, both of them 6 months apart. This got me thinking about the afterlife. There was more. I mean, we all heard ghost stories. And people had all this tangible proof like videos and EVPs and stuff, right? I mean, I had a nice computer set up. I could do an EVP session. So opening up Cool Edit Pro 2.1 and try to do some EVP sessions. I armed 4 different tracks for recording, unplugged the mic, turned off all electronics and hit record. I asked a few questions, let the thing play, and stopped. I loaded up the first track, nothing. Second track, nothing. The third track, I just puked. That was my reaction. Clear as day. 2 voices distorted like static. The voice at the same time says, "We are watching you." And it wasn't my grandparents. The girl I was with at the time was a witness. She wasn't taking it serious like me. I set it up or something. I showed everybody that would come over. It was scary. I still wasn't thinking about my pack though. So this is in my head for like 6 months, and there's a lot of weird shit going on. Things flying off the desk, bad dreams, just crazy stuff. I'll go over in another post. But one day, my brother, who is also into music production and stuff like that, decided to put on the good headphones and mess with some frequencies. On the track, calls me from my room. His face was white like a ghost. He tells me there is more than one recording. I said, "What?" So after the "we're watching you," you hear a clear voice, no distortion, with an old-timey way of speaking, saying, "You're going to die now." Again, I almost puked. What the fuck? There was no way to explain the first set of voices, maybe static, but this second voice was clear, like someone yelling in the background. I thought maybe my brother was messing with me, so I checked the last edit date, and it remained the same from the previous month, so I had enough. The weird shit going on, the whispers around the house, stuff falling off desk, and then this recording changing on me. I unplugged the tower and put it up. That was enough of that. Well, a couple of weeks later, my brother and a friend are having a debate about ghost and a demon and the devil. My friend is saying he don't believe in none of that. So I say, "Oh yeah, get a load of this." So I bring out the computer. It plays the "We're watching you" part. It freaks him out. We're crazy. But what happened next scared me and my brother. The man that was yelling, "You're all going to die," or whatever, was now chanting in low, slow, demonic sounding voice. Believe in his power. I felt like I was going to faint. And this wouldn't be the last time the recording changed. We did a house blessing, and some straight out of Hollywood stuff happened. But the recording changed to "What have you done?" I was scared. I was truly scared. I thought my house was haunted. So at this time, I'm with some other girl, and I'm telling her now that I won't start going to church and making changes in my life. Well, when I get back home, I have these deep red scratches circling both my arms. It's like something wrapped around my arms, both of them, and left these cuts. I ran next door to my grandmother from my mom's side, and I tell her what happened. She said, "It's the devil," and she put the holy water on me. And I kid you not, these marks went away. I'm still not calm, but I had business to run. So I go into my room, pull all the money out of the little stash spot. I reached into my pocket to make sure nothing is in there, and all I pull out is one single dollar bill. It hit me like a ton of bricks, the deal I made with the devil. It's like he was reminding me that all I had was based on that deal, and it was time for me to start repaying him. And I did. The longest time. But like I said, there is a lot of crazy stuff I could tell you. Perhaps some other time. But I never really had a platform to tell this story, so yeah. Thanks for sticking with me. Oh, and I don't condone the selling of one's soul. I mean, it's a bad deal, through and through, and in the end, you suffer like never before. But the road there was crazy. Currently, I'm a Christian who turned over a new leaf. It cost me a lot to get away, but yeah. Story 2. While hanging out at an abandoned school, me and my friends stumbled upon something. This is going to be a rather lengthy story, so please bear with me, guys. Back when I was early to mid-teens, around 2007 to 2008, me and a bunch of friends would regularly hang out at an old abandoned school. A very small school, with only 8 classrooms. a teacher's room, a cafeteria, 2 bathrooms and 1 room we had no idea what was in since it was always locked. But I'll get back to that later. This school hadn't been able to keep up with the 80s modernisation of our town, and the large number of newcomers that followed with it, and as such it quickly closed down in favour of new schools and buildings by the end of the 80s. Most of the place was boarded up completely, but you could either enter through windows in one of the classrooms where the board had been ripped down. Our routine was always the same. Whoever of us got off school first would go down to the building and go through the different rooms to make sure everything was empty and safe, as these buildings had earlier been known as a local spot for drug addicts, and used needles and such was a common sight for us by this point. So this one day, me and a friend of mine were the first to get out of school, and as per usual, we take the walk down to the building, but upon entering and stepping out of one of the classrooms into the hallway, we immediately see a large man. I remember him as quite huge, but that might possibly be how he appeared to us as kids. And my friend let out a huge scream. The man doesn't appear shocked or scared, and doesn't seem to react to us, but he turns to look at us and then asks, "Have you guys seen Robert?" We tell the guy that we haven't seen anyone, and he only just got there, to which he sighs and shrugs, then pushes past us to leave the same way we entered. Now our friend has an unusual name, so the chances that this guy was just looking for another random guy who just appeared to have the same name was pretty low. But none of us had ever seen this guy before, and I happen to know most of said friend's family well. When we described what the guy looked like to our friend, he didn't seem to know who this guy was. He could have either been, and the next few months we were too scared to go back. We did return about 3 to 4 months later. It was the middle of a summer vacation, and we thought it would be fun to climb up onto the roof of the building and sunbathe. Upon climbing it, we found the roof to be rather weak and close to caving in. But something made us take the risk and dare to venture out onto the roof after all. A hole in the roof, which a figure would have to be directly above the room we had never been in. The hole in the roof was only about the size of a football, and one of my friends come up with the idea to lower her arm down into the hole and film the room using her phone so that we could see what the room looked like. She put her arm down, and as she was filming, she suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream and immediately retracts her arm, but her phone is no longer to be seen. She was certain that something had knocked it out of her hand, and as we looked down through the hole, we could see her phone laying on the floor. We climbed down from the roof and entered the building, now intent on doing whatever it takes to get into the room, so our friend wouldn't have to return home without her phone and have to explain what happened. About 30 minutes later, we finally managed to make a hole in the door and put our hands inside, and when we tried to use the door handle on the inside of the door now opens without any trouble. We step inside and we stare in silence. To this day, I have no idea what this room was doing in a school. And I sincerely hope it has never been used for what looked like it was intended for. The room was about 4 meters by 4 meters. And the floor and walls are all of solid concrete. In the left corner of the room, where we entered, were 2 metal bowls sitting on the floor. And at the back of the room were 5 chains dangling from the wall, 4 with equal-sized cuffs and 1 large, looked like it fit around the neck. Needless to say, we swiftly picked up our friend's phone and immediately left that place. However, the room had us both scared, but also slightly intrigued. So after some talk back and forth that same night, we decided to go back and look again the following day. When we returned the next day, we found the door to be locked once again. And someone had covered the hole we made in the door with a large wooden board nailed to the door. Once again, we immediately left, and after that visit we never returned. I have no idea what we stumbled upon that day, but I am certain my days hanging out in this place is what sparked my interest in abandoned places. Today, I am an experienced member of the Ubrex community and have had much more sinister experiences with places like this that I might share with you all some other time. Since taking up Ubrex, it has been my dream of mine to go back to that school and check that room was still there, but unfortunately the place no longer exists, and the area is now home to a thrift store. Hey guys, just want to stop in here. So if you are enjoying the content and you have made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you comment and share the videos too, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, on to our third and final story. This one is called Shadow People, and it reads, "Sorry, my English is not my native language, but about 10 years ago, my mom and I went to pick up my brother at a band rehearsal. We lived in a small town in Norway, and we had to drive through the forest to get to where my brother is. It was winter time, so it was very dark outside. The only light was the lampposts along the road. We drove down a little hill that flattens out before going down again. I know the road very well, and when the hill flattens, there's a bus stop, and other side there's a very thick rose of bushes on a tiny hill. The road is lit up by a lamppost. Suddenly, I see this long, slender thing, all black, almost like a shadow. I could see that it had long arms and legs, but it had no feet nor hands, and it looked like it had antlers and was about 2 to 3 meters tall. It looked like it moved slowly, like dragging its body over the road, but it was really fast and disappeared into the rose bushes, because the thing is that I would have seen it because of the little hill, but I didn't. When I turned my head to see where it went, I see that my mom did the same thing. She turned back and looks at me and says, "Did you see that as well?" I nodded. Then she said, "It might have been a moose." And I was like, "Mom, mooses don't walk on 2 legs." Then she says quietly, "Yeah, I know. We have talked about it from time to time after that. The only reason I don't think I had any psychosis, or what it's called, is because we both saw it. I still don't know what it was, and I'm still looking for other people that have seen the same thing. A while after I heard about two different people having similar experience, but with slim, tall, black dog-like things with some features as the thing I saw. Hey guys,